Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. This is Todd Durkin, and this is going to be one heck of a fun episode today. I'm talking about Strong. Yes, that's Strong. You know, Strong, the reality TV show I was on several years ago on NBC, now airing on Netflix. Well, today I've got both of my partners. Yes, I said both of my partners, both Devon, Cassidy, and Brittany, Harrell will be here today on today's show. And we step back in time, not only reflect upon the highs and lows of that time, but also where the gals are at now. One of the questions I always get on my DMs or my emails from all of you is, hey, how are Devon and Brittany doing and all that? So I want to share something first so you know how Strong impacted me then and how it still to this day impacts me today. In the fall of 2015, I took a huge leap. I took a step way outside my comfort zone. I got in my car and headed to LA for about 3 months to be on a reality show called Strong. I'd have no phone or computer save for about 1 hour per week. Not per day, per week. That was scary into itself. I was nervous, I was scared, and more about what I was leaving behind. A business with, at the time, 42 employees, clients, members, but I had the systems in place and my family. My kids at the time were in 8th grade, 6th grade, and 3rd grade, and I'd be gone for up to 3 months. There were sports, school, my wife, and just time couldn't be replaced. And I was nervous to go into the unknown. I had no idea what I was really getting into, literally. But most of all, I was excited, really, really excited. I was excited for a new challenge in my life, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I had no idea what it would do professionally. After all, you know, a reality show, it could help you or it could even really hurt you. But I was at a point in my career where I just needed a new challenge. I was 15 years into having my brick and mortar gym, Fitness Quest 10. Business was good, culture was strong, but I was personally stagnant. My faith walk told me that I needed to step outside my comfort zone and go for something big. And that's what I did. Remember, to get on Strong, besides auditioning, there were 5 major things that had to happen. Number 1, I had to get a heart scan with nuclear dye injected into my heart due to my father's death at the age of 58. He died of a heart attack, so they needed to scan me. I was 44 years old at the time. The second thing, I had a 3.5-day live mentorship scheduled in San Diego that I had to cancel. 32 people had already signed up for it. It was months in advance. And they had already paid and bought plane tickets. I had to refund their money, pay for the change fee for their flights if I was to have another one. And most importantly, I had a $22,000 non-refundable deposit to the hotel that I would not recover and didn't recover. Number 3, I had to cancel a speaking engagement with the NSCA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association. I had never canceled one of those before, and I had to do that. Number 4, Under Armour. Because I have a contract with Under Armour, one of the auspices potentially of that show was, hey, what if a competitor brand, right, another brand, apparel brand, sponsored the show? So I called up Kevin Plank, the founder and creator of Under Armour. I said, hey, Kevin, I've got an opportunity to go on this show called Strong. And my contract, obviously, I can't wear other apparel. And we got the attorneys involved just to look at the contract. And Kevin said this, I'll never forget, Friday afternoon, Kevin says, Todd, if you believe that this show can help you and your career, I know that karma always comes back and it'll help the brand as well. You do what you have to do, and I give you my blessing. I'll forever be indebted to that conversation because that didn't hold me back to going into Strong and leaving for 3 months and willing to take the risk. Those were all 5 things that had to happen. I was ultimately going to have to say yes to a huge, huge risk, leaving it all, going through those things. And that's exactly what I did. It all worked out, those 5 things. And I found myself driving up the 405 North in September 2015 for filming. I was filled with excitement and energy and enthusiasm. I drove into the unknown of what was going to happen. Long story short, the entire season of Strong is now on Netflix. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure you do so. It makes for some pretty darn good TV. I still love getting, by the way, the DMs and all the IGs and running into someone who saw the show and has impacted them positively, kids and adults alike. And if you don't know, make sure you watch it. 10 trainers from around the U.S. We were paired with 10 gals who were trying to change their lives on all levels. What I didn't know going into the show, though, is that the trainers would actually be competing with the trainees. While I went into the show with the mentality that there was no doubt I could coach and transform with the best of them, when I found out we were going to have to actually do these crazy off-the-wall challenges and that I had to compete with studs up to 10 to 15 years younger, let's just say I had to get my mind right quickly also. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen the show, I was the only trainer that ended up having 2 trainees, and I made it all the way to the finals. And well, watch the show and you'll see what happens. Devon, a 25-year-old woman in sales whose life was full of stress and anxiety and who didn't like to compete, and I got eliminated in a heartbreaking loss after week 3. And we talk about that in today's show here in just a matter of moments. I came home to San Diego after that loss. I was battered and bruised, literally, physically. I got diagnosed with a torn shoulder labrum, aggravated discs in my back. My knee was shot. And to say the 3 weeks up there was tough was an understatement. But in many reality shows, there's always twists and turns. And somehow I miraculously won a competition to get back in the game. Yes, it really was a miracle in the elimination tower, or what I deem the opportunity tower. That's where I got paired up with this one gal named Brittany Harrell. Oh my goodness. Brittany was a former athlete who loved to compete, but life got in the way. She mothered a child in high school. Her dad was in and out of drugs. She's a mixed race gal, and she put her way through college. Let's just say she is one tough woman. Brittany and I hooked up in week 6 as teammates, and we had a miracle run all the way into the finals of Strong, where we were playing for 200,000 smackaroos in the finals. Folks, looking back, Strong is one of the fondest and finest memories of my life. It was wild, crazy, and it pushed me way outside my comfort zone. And not only do I not regret doing it, I'm so thankful and grateful that I said yes to that opportunity, because it was scary. I'm forever linked to these 2 girls, Devon and Brittany. And heck, I'm going to be officiating Devon's wedding in Boston next year. But one of the questions I still get from my friends and family and fans is, how are Devon and Brittany from Strong doing? Well, today you're going to find out. We have a great conversation on today's show on many different topics. We look back at some of the highlights, the lowlights. We look at some lessons learned, and we just check in and see how they're doing, both in Boston and in Kansas as well. So without further ado, let's head over to Fitness Quest 10 right now, where I have both Devon and Brittany on today's Impact Show to make you laugh, smile, and reminisce about a piece of history that still positively impacts so many people today. Without further ado, Devon Cassidy and Brittany Harrell. Folks, we are back. I am at Fitness Quest 10, and I am joined by none other than our Strong teammates, Devon Cassidy and Brittany Harrell. What's up, ladies?
Oh, what's up, Todd?
Man, it is so good to see you and hear your voices again.
It's good to see you too. And you, Brittany, I miss you.
It's been so long.
I know.
It has been. Folks, as I said, it's been 4 years since it came out, and many of you have watched Strong on Netflix in the last few years. If you haven't, make sure you do so, because you're going to want to get to meet Devon and Brittany along with the other trainers and trainees. And the reason why I'm doing this is so many of you have asked, hey, what's Devon doing now? What's Brittany doing now? What are the other trainers doing now? And I just want to share some insight here as 2020 comes to an end, thank goodness, about what our strong mindsets, our strong bodies are doing, And I want to start from where we're at now, and then we'll journey back in time. We'll get some juicy stories if we have any. I know, Brittany, you always have some juicy stories. You always got something crazy going on. Yeah. But hey, what's going on now? Bring us up to snuff. Devon, we're going up to Boston, right? Are you in Boston right now?
I am in Boston. It's currently snowing. So,
Oh my God.
I know. Things have been good here. Working full-time remote, definitely a little challenging. I really like being in an office and being surrounded by people all day, every day. So it has been tough kind of being remote and being by myself. But other than that, the family is good. I got engaged since the show, which was really exciting. So
yeah. Love it. When's the big day?
The big day is January 22nd, 2022. It was supposed to be this upcoming January, but we just had to reschedule it with everything going on. So, I feel for all those other brides out there that just want to try to celebrate and are kind of facing some challenges with scheduling during this time.
Mm-hmm. So you're working primarily virtually right now?
I am, yeah, fully virtually.
What's your title? What are you actually doing?
Yeah, so right now I'm working with a company, and a student health insurance company. And basically what I do is I work with all colleges and universities on really any insurance programs for their student population. So right now we're really focusing with these schools on return to campus strategies because of everything going on COVID-19 related, helping them get testing clinics set up. Also really taking a look at students' mental health right now. About 60% of students are reporting, severe depression and anxiety. And as a reason for them dropping out of college altogether, which is pretty crazy. Yep. So trying to help these schools put together some good wellness programs for their students virtually and try to help them with whatever type of return to campus strategy they're doing.
Well, I can't wait to catch up with you, Devon, because for those of you who are listening in right now, if you read my book, Get Your Mind Right, I talk about Brittany and Devon. Devon was my first teammate on our, I hate to say olive team. I still hate olives, but we were the olive team. And,
I named my dog after that team, Olive.
You named your dog. And folks, I say this jokingly, but it's the truth. Day number 1, Devon Cassidy told yours truly, she's like, Todd, I hate to compete. I almost had to see a psychiatrist when Devon's like, I hate to compete. I'm like, wait. You got the wrong trainer. I love to compete, and we're here to try to win this thing. So Devon's come a long way. And we're going to talk about some of that here in the show of going from a gal who was 25 years old and down and going through some tough times in life who now has come a long way and learned a lot of lessons. So can't wait to catch up with her. Now let's hop over to the Midwest. Brittany, what's happening, girl? My black and yellow teammate.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to be real and honest in the middle of this 2020 year,
you've always been real and honest.
I have. That's what you get when you talk to Brittany, I suppose. But it's hard. I'm a teacher in 2020, and hybrid learning is what I'm currently doing right now. And for all you teachers, this is definitely not what we sign up for. I sign up to, be in the classroom, impact kids, and do all the things that we're supposed to do. But this has become a challenge, and I think that it's given me a place to grow. I will say that, because I think my biggest struggle is being able to connect with kids and still build relationships. And we don't know where all kids are at and what they're doing behind a screen. So our jobs as teachers have changed, and it's hard.
And you can't make the kids put their screens on?
No, that is completely an equity issue, and the fact that not all kids have surroundings and places that are suitable for them to be able to turn on cameras. And that's a bigger challenge and a bigger discussion, probably not really for
I've heard that from many other teachers, and I feel for you. Britt, when we did the show, you were a middle school math teacher. Are you still at the middle school, and are you still doing math?
I'm still doing math, because let's be real, math is the best. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But don't cringe your face. You just didn't have a good math teacher.
I'm assuming you're talking to Devon, because I love my math teachers.
I was cringing.
I'm going to need to log into those math classes.
You do it. I'm virtual, girl. I'll help you out. But now I am actually a high school math teacher, which I'd like to say is a complete change and different, but kids are still kids no matter where you are. So they're a little bit more mature, but they're still kids.
Well, guys, if you have not watched Strong, as I mentioned in the intro of today's podcast episode, is that Britt and I got reunited on a comeback challenge where she just eked out Devon by one wrong, and we had an incredible run all the way into the finals. So I won't tell you the complete spoiler alert if you have not seen it, but these two gals right here we are forever linked, and they're family to me and will be to the day I die. They're extremely special. Strong was one of the highlights of my life, and I'm really honored to be talking to them today and sharing them with the Impact Show listeners. So I'm going to start off with a few different questions. Matter of fact, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me don something special, ladies. What is it? It's time. If you're listening, I'm putting on my Strong jersey.
Makes me want to go get mine.
Yeah. So I've got my Strong jersey on right now. Since that time, 2 or 3 lessons. Let's start with Devon. What's a couple lessons you've learned that you learned on Strong that you're still applying today? What's like a couple lessons that you learned on Strong? You were trying to transform your body, mind, spirit. Went on Strong. What have you learned? What did you learn on Strong that you're still applying today?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think I learned a lot of things on Strong. I definitely went there really kind of, as you mentioned, just down and dealing with a lot of life, struggles. I kept saying I was going through my quarter life crisis. I was 25. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life or my career. I was moving out. My parents were getting a divorce. There was just so many different things that were really just weighing me down significantly. And I think, since the show and being on the show, I just learned to just try to not, pile everything on top of myself, and to really acknowledge that it's okay to be going through a certain thing, but it's not going to define me and it's not going to define my future. And I can, take a pause and acknowledge it and appreciate, the situation that I'm in, but also really try to kind of overcome that and not let it just totally overwhelm me, which was, it still takes a lot of working on, to this day. I don't think that, being in my 30s is going to get any easier when it comes to that fact. But, I did learn that definitely on the show, and to just not be so hard on myself. I mean, I think you taught me a lot of that as well. And, that fear of failure, that was huge for me. And I think that's why I said I didn't like to compete. It wasn't necessarily that I didn't like to compete. I'm a salesperson. I compete every single day, but it was, competing at something I wasn't comfortable at. And that chance of failing at it, I think, was just horrifying to me. I didn't want to fail for you. I didn't want to fail on national television. But mostly I didn't want to fail for myself. I wanted to, to win for my own sanity. But I really realized through that whole process that losing a competition wasn't failing. That wasn't where the failure lied. It was, being able to do the competition and get out there and put myself out there and try. That was, success in and of itself. Winning or losing didn't attribute to me being a failure or not. So, those are just a few things that I've learned from that show that, I wish I had learned before the show. I think I would have had a little bit of a different experience on it, but I'm so grateful that I kind of have that hindsight now.
And Devon, what about stress and anxiety? Because you obviously were facing a lot of anxiety at the time, a lot of stress, and you self-imposed stress or, from all the different situations. How do you deal with that now? We're in a stressful time. Are you doing well with it? Are you still struggling with the anxiety side? Are you doing pretty good?
I'm definitely still struggling with it. I think, stress and anxiety and just being hard on yourself are things that don't just go away. But I've learned, I think I listened to your podcast, Todd, and you always say, what were you doing when things were working really well? And I always try to sit there and think about that. And what was I doing when I was feeling my best? And so, I try to go back to the basics, and, whether that's journaling, I don't do it as much as I should, but I do feel a lot better when my thoughts are spiraling to just write them down on a piece of paper. So that's been really helpful. But I also, hired a therapist. I talk to her once a week. And I just think, focusing on your mental health isn't something that anybody should be embarrassed to do, or, I think everybody should talk to somebody. And so that's really helped me just manage my stress overall.
Yeah. Congrats. That is awesome. That's awesome. And that's, you talk about strong. It's great that you're doing that, Devon. Right? That's fantastic. Britt, how about you? What are some lessons that you learned on strong? You've got a very mischievous smile on your face. What are a couple lessons? And this is coming from a girl, by the way, who basically eliminated Devon and I, right? So, but when you think about lessons,
I thought we were going to wait, and now we're going to talk.
We will wait. I want to keep coming back to it because I still need to see a psychotherapist, I think, for that move. But anyway, love you. What's a lesson or two that you learned, and I know there were many, that you're still applying today as a mom, as a teacher? What are
I think that it's important for listeners to know that a lot of what happened with Strong happened outside of what they saw on TV. And I think that that's where a lot of my lessons come from, is things that people didn't get to see. And discipline is real. And I am going to be honest in this moment and say, I wish I had a little bit of the discipline I had then now, because it's mind-blowing to me what your body can do when you are zoned in and you're focused and you're dialed in to what you want to do. The mind is a powerful place when you're on the right track and you're in the right space and whatever. And so discipline is something that I did learn. And it's one of those things that I battle with all the time, because it's like, I know how to do it. I know how to go back to the basics. And I remind myself all the time, when was I doing it? And I'm like, I did something incredible when I was on Strong. And that happened when I was still living a normal life, at home. And so I think that people out there need to know that you don't have to start 100% and all in. And I think that sometimes I hurt myself in that way, because I feel like I have to be 100% or nothing at all. And it's okay to not be 100% all the time. And it's okay to recognize that it's okay to not be okay. And I think that Strong gave us every opportunity to realize that it's okay to not be okay. We faced that tower so many times, week after week. And I think so much of that, I was always so mad. I was just like, oh my God, again. And then it got to the point where it was like, yes, again, this is what you know how to do. You know how to fight when your back is against the wall. And I think that that's something that I need to learn how to still move away from, to not always have to fight or put up guard when my back is against the wall, and learn how to fight before my back is against the wall. And so I think that those are lessons that I undoubtedly have learned throughout my life, but showed up again during Strong, because that tower was no joke. And you like to call it at the end, that opportunity tower. And I think that by changing the way that we looked at the tower, changed the way that I thought about the tower. So like going to the tower was like, cool, okay, meet you at the top. So,
well, yeah. I mean, those are great lessons. I think, from my perspective on all of that, I think when we're challenged to go deep, for any of us listening in, if you're being challenged now in life, isn't it kind of weird sometimes when you're being challenged and your back's against the walls when you do your best work? I mean, think about that. Like when you think about your life's biggest struggles, when you've had your back against the wall and you're looking up and it seems like an insurmountable challenge, is we all have this grit inside of us that when we're challenged to do our best work, we somehow find it. For me, I had to actually say yes to going on Strong because I was searching for that next challenge in my life. I was the oldest trainer. I was 44 years old when I did that show. But I was kind of like, I needed to go to the next level mentally, not physically, mentally, to be challenged. Right now, as you guys listen in, we're all facing these challenges. And sometimes we learn to love the climbing the mountain. We're always climbing. You get to the top, guess what? It's very uncomfortable sometimes when you're at the top of the mountain, because you've been working your whole life to get to a moment where things are all simpatico and smooth. And it gets there and you're like, wow, something's uncomfortable here. So one of the things I learned about that when I was at Strong was tapping into those whispers. And I share that in my book. Tapping in your whispers is we all have a strength inside of us that we don't even know of or aware of until we have to tap into that well. Brittany, you shared about it from, your mom, about your mom and dad, and how your dad was always in and out of drugs and everything that you shared on the show, right? Devon, same thing that you share with your family. For me, I share with my father how he passed away, and Sawman and those things. I had the channel. For all of us know this, the lesson of life is this, man. I don't care how good or bad it is. You got to win the day every single day. It's not looking back a year, 4 years, 10 years ago and reveling in the rearview mirror. It's what are we doing today that we can do to win today? And that comes down to your physical training, your mindset, your spiritual training, everything you're doing where your vision is 10 times bigger than the rearview mirror. That's a really important aspect. That what are we working on that's moving the juices, right? What's moving the juices? And that to Brittany's comment is it takes tremendous discipline, and that's hard. It's hard to have the discipline to wake up when it's snowing out in Boston or in Kansas, and San Diego, wherever you are. It's not easy. So there's lessons all the time, but we got to make sure that we're continuing to win the day. Britt, let's start with you. Favorite memory or memories, one or two of your top memories from being on Strong. If you were to reflect and look in the rearview mirror, was there a moment or two, like when you think about that now, or you get someone that just watches Strong for the first time on Netflix and like, oh, Brittany, you did an amazing job. Is there a moment or a memory that you have that's one of your favorites?
Yep. We are on that big round tower and you have so much weight just piled onto you. And I'm pretty sure you're about to be strangled by the cord. And
I was going to get choked out. I literally was about to get choked out on my jugular vein.
And I'm like, who are you? And you're like, I'm Todd freaking Durkin. Whatever, That's literally one of my favorite moments, because in that moment, it did not matter if we were going to win. But it was fun. It was like, for a moment, it was just you and me. And we were up in this big old thing and nobody else was around. And it was like we were having this little conversation the whole time because we were tethered together. So it's not like you go very far. Yeah. You just kept trying to put on more onto your back to save me because of my foot. And I think about it now and I'm just like, God, we could have done things so differently. But it was so fun.
No doubt. How about you, Devon? I love it.
Oh, I think one of my favorite moments was when we were in the kitchen, probably, I don't know, the first few days or so. And I was sitting there telling you all the food I was eating, pasta and chicken. I mean, my mom never made me try anything at home. So I never really tried any foods. I didn't try salmon, broccoli, or I don't even know anything, shrimp, all of this. And I'm telling you all this. And I'm I eat pasta. I eat, chicken, Hamburger Helper, cereal. I'm but I just have a really bad metabolism. And you were you actually have a really good metabolism. You're eating shit. And I honestly told myself this story for my whole life, that I just had this bad metabolism. Not that I was eating so poorly. You were you should be a lot heavier, but you look pretty good for what you're eating. So that was funny. And you got me to try a ton of foods that I now eat every day, which is crazy to me.
Oh my God. I'm laughing because I just remember that conversation. I hadn't thought about it in a long time and you cut out for a little second there. You had told me you had never tried salmon, right?
Nope. No seafood,
that's
none.
Impossible. I'm how have you never tried? You're 25 years old. How have you never tried seafood? That's impossible. And then you told me, I go out on the weekends and I drink on the weekends and I have one meal a day. I'm you got it all backwards. You're trying to lose weight and you're drinking, not eating but one meal a day. You've never tried fish. And I was oh my gosh, I have my work cut out for me.
And half of the vegetables, I had never had any kind of vegetables really, at all. Even putting vegetables next to my food at dinner was an absolutely not. Protein shakes, never had them. Greek yogurt, I had never had them. I mean, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have the show, to be honest. I would have never tried all these foods.
Do you think that's normal? Do you think there's a lot of people like you that are right now in their 20s that have never experienced, quote, good nutrition? Because I when you told me that, I thought you were a Martian. That's crazy. I never heard of anyone that's never tried fish or vegetables. But do you think that's more normal or that's abnormal?
I think for my generation, it was kind of normal, to be honest. We kind of grew up with a lot of processed foods. Those were relatively new. My mom, always cooked like Italian dishes, like rich foods. And I'd say probably both my parents were relatively picky eaters too. So I think if your parents aren't eating the healthy foods that you should be eating, they're not cooking them for you and they're not having you try them. What's going to, make somebody in their 20s or at any age go out to a restaurant and say like, yeah, let me order the salmon dish. Like I would have never done that because I wouldn't have known that it'd be something that I would have liked. So I think if you're not exposed to those types of foods growing up, you might be stuck for a while without ever trying them because you wouldn't know how to cook them. You wouldn't want to order them out because they're expensive and you don't know if you're going to like them or not. And you kind of end up in this cycle of really not trying food.
But even in today's social media world with Instagram, I mean, all social media, kids see healthy food. There's education everywhere. You just say because you weren't, not just you, but if kids weren't raised that way, they might see it, but that's the Instagram world or the Snapchat world or TikTok, whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we see a lot more now in social media than I ever did growing up. I mean, I didn't see, people snapping photos of them eating a salad all the time. It wasn't like the cool thing to do to like eat a salad. Yeah. But I just don't think you can see it, but how do you know how to make it or if it's going to taste good? And, it's like, there's a lot that comes with cooking.
What do you think, Britt? You agree with that?
I think that it depends on kind of like where you're at in your lifestyle. I think that because Devon and I were the same age, but I had a kid. So like I had to force myself to learn how to cook because somebody else was dependent on me. I don't think that I hadn't ever tried salmon before the show either. Thank you, Kai. I ate it every day for months. So, I mean, I love you and that stuff really worked, but I had never had it before either. And I think part of that is just that, like the nutrition conversation is hard because to be healthy is expensive. It takes time and prep work to do it. It's not convenient. It's not easy. And so unless you really, have somebody that tells you exactly, these are easy things to cook. These are, whatever, you just don't know. It's easier to go through a drive-through and get something to eat than it is for me to go to the grocery store and cook.
Mm-hmm,
but I think it just depends on your lifestyle too. I think it's hard for single people because it's hard to cook for one person. So it's like, no, it's easier for me to go get something. And I think that probably happens more often than not.
Yeah. No, it's good. We're talking about right now our favorite memories of working together on Strong. And guys, you may have heard me talk about it, you read about it in the book, but if there was one moment just overall for me that was my favorite, it was the comeback challenge on a lot of reasons, for a lot of reasons. Number one, personally, I was able to prove everybody wrong in that. And I was hurt. I had come back here after Devon and I were eliminated in week 3. I got diagnosed with a torn labrum in my shoulder, and I'm on a football field with Pop Warner coach and Luke, who's now a senior in high school, and Dave Broom and Sylvester Stallone call up and say, we need you back up here. I'm like, I can't come back up there. I blew out my shoulder. My back is killing me. My knees are killing me from squatting 185 pounds, 78 times. And they're like, we need you back up here. And then when my family, everyone except Brady, said, you're not going to win, Dad, so don't even go, I was like, I'm going. So then I showed up and all those trainers were hedging bets for Leon and Drew. It just kind of showed me at 44, I don't care how old you are listening in, you still, if you are a athlete or were an athlete, you still are an athlete, and you'll always have juices flowing with the competitive juices get flowing. And they got flowing that one night when they told us we were going through the opportunity challenge, opportunity tower, sometimes known as the elimination tower, solo. And the girls went before us. Devon was in the lead until Brittany, right? The other way around.
No, I went first.
Devon came within one rung. Otherwise, Devon and I would have been reunited. And then Brittany won. And then I won and beat Drew and Leon and Kai on that. For me, that was one of my highlights. And it was more just because I was able to prove to myself when you go really, really, really deep and I'll say spiritually, it can overcome a lot of physical ailments. And there's a lot of people who are physically in pain, and you've got to channel some serious strength and energy and positivity to do that. So I'd say that's probably, certainly one of my highlights. And I had a lot of highlights with both of you as well. That was a good night. How about one of your worst memories? Devin, I'll start with you. One of your worst memories. we had some bad memories.
God, I don't know. I think my worst memories was just like being so horrified to go into that tower. Like I thought I was going to have a heart attack and die. Like I had no desire to go into that. And I called it the elimination tower. I was not viewing it as an opportunity. I was like, this is where my failure tower. And do you remember when we went through the walkthrough and we had our Fitbits on and I was looking at my like resting heart rate and it was like 115? I was like, I'm dying in here. I'm panicking. I can't do it. I actually made the production staff put water bottles all throughout the tower because I was so afraid that I wasn't going to be able to breathe because I was so nervous and I was going to need a water break during like the 2 minutes it takes to go through the tower. Oh man, I just wish that I didn't get myself so worked up about it because hindsight, it was just such a cool opportunity. And like, who gets to play this like big, huge game? You know, it was this big game that we were playing and it was, you know, fun and cool if you look at it that way. But I was horrified and that was a scary moment.
Yeah, well, it was a scary moment. And guys, if you're a coach or trainer listening in, I kind of made a mistake that night, because I love to compete and Devin doesn't necessarily love to compete. So I'm like listening to Rocky IV soundtrack, getting jacked up, getting her so hyped. Like, Devin, it's the Super Bowl. We're on national TV. Big time players step up in big time games. And I'm getting her so hyped up, when that was the wrong way to motivate Devin. It was not the right way. That's how I think. That's what gets me fired up. The right way would have been to sit there and breathe and meditate and focus and visualize, because the more I was getting hyped up, the more anxious she was getting, until we literally had to have doctor intervention come in and I had to like get away from her because I was about to go nuts. Brittany's laughing right now if you can't see her. She's laughing because she was there. And I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm like, Devin, all your friends back in Boston are going to think you're such a wimp. You got to go. And the more I'm saying this stuff, you're getting worse and worse. I'm like, I've never had an athlete like that would like do this. Like I'm failing. I'm like, I don't care if you die. I'll put you over my shoulder. We're doing this. And the more I'm saying it, the more you're like, oh my gosh. So that was as much my mistake as it was yours. I was getting so jacked and juiced up that the more jacked I was getting, the more anxious you were. So my bad. I apologize.
I remember you finally just like being quiet and coming over and be like, I made you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich if it'll make you feel better. It's like, all right, I'll try to eat it.
Man. Brittany, how about you? Worst moment, worst memory?
I think, I don't know. It's like in the moment, it was like the worst thing ever. And now that I think about it, I'm like, I mean, it made some real good TV. But when that mousetrap thing came down on my foot and it threw a wrench in the rest of the game. You know, I always look at things now and I'm like, yeah, that sounded like it's terrible. It was the worst moment, but that gave us so like, I don't know, like the adrenaline that then went through my body and my veins after that. It went back to like, I had something to prove. So maybe it was the world's way of putting my back against the wall every week. But I don't know, that sucked a lot. It's funny when people watch it now though, because they're like, oh my God, how are you? How's your foot? And I'm like, that was 5 years ago. Good. It's so good, guys. You know, right. So it's just, you know, thinking about those small things too, like in the moment, things that sucked a lot. I was like, we were sore. It was uncomfortable. Like ice baths, no thank you. But like, I'm like, God, it was so much fun. So I can't really like, you know, say there was like the worst thing that happens, because looking back on it, there's so many people that wish they could have had that opportunity. And like, it was so much fun. Like, I really do need to just rewatch the show. And maybe it'll like jazz me up again and give me some energy. But like,
you know what's funny is it will, because I did over the pandemic. I came out in the living room once and McKenna and the boys were watching Strong and I got sucked into it. And it really was cool to reflect and watch it again and see what good TV it was. And people are always asking, is there going to be another, you know, season and this and that? And I tell you, to watch it now, I am appreciative of what everyone went through, all the trainers, all the trainees, all this stuff, including a lot of the drama. Because reality TV, guys, for you listening in, it ain't so real in a lot of ways. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. As a matter of fact, my worst memory comes from something that was never talked about or said on TV. Devon, what week was that with the upside down medicine ball challenge? Was it week 2?
Two, I think, yeah.
We're hanging upside down. And those of you that seen it, remember it was a hot day. We've got to do for 5 minutes. Oh, no, let's do it for 10 upside down medicine ball, throwing sit-ups. And after that 10-minute challenge, which was supposed to be 5 minutes, I felt a very strange feeling in my body that I told our athletic trainer, Scott. I'm like, man, something don't feel right. I don't know if it's my back. Something's not right. That, I get medically checked out. Make a long story short, I was diagnosed with what's called rhabdomyolysis. Now, I haven't talked about this, but this is real stuff. Rhabdomyolysis is basically when your muscles split, right, and the protein seeps out into your bloodstream. It could kill you, by the way. If you've ever had a rhabdo or know of someone with rhabdo, it's serious. And lo and behold, my CPK levels were like 37,000. They should be like 300. And I believe it was about 9 other people got diagnosed, if you all remember, Devon being one. And it shut down production for, I don't even remember, was it a week or 2?
It was a week, I think, yeah.
We were walking around with walking around the track with IV bags. Guys, that never made the cut. That was my worst memory of me, basically. I'm not going to say self-administering an IV, but it was, I'm like, man, if I die, Melanie's going to be a rich woman. Right. But listen, this is the stuff that doesn't make the cut. And I say worst memory because, when you're pushing it all out and it's on the line, man, you do some stuff that all of you'll go to the end. And I was pushing and fortunately everyone was safe and healthy. And, to the production side, they did stop production, which cost them a lot of money to do that. And
this is where I say that they made up for it in the end, though. I'm just saying. I mean, if we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we ended up paying in the end by having to compete. The every week, guys, when they say every week, Brittany and I were competing every day. I mean, I think it was 4 weeks. It was done in about 13 days or something like that. It was some crazy number like that. And that was part of, I'm not saying the outcome, but physically we were certainly beaten. Not only was Britt's ankle jacked up from, again, me not holding a
way to go. It was your fault.
Sled. What's that?
I said, way to go. It was your fault. I mean, we're making it here.
Man.
Really.
I know you are. I love you. And anyway, so there's some things like that. Like, these are some memories sometimes that you have that you never even saw on TV on that. Let me ask you a question on this. As far as now, let's fast forward to today. What's today like? That we look back, we laugh, we smile. Sometimes the things that seem so big, while filming the show. Now, health-wise, fitness-wise, nutritionally, mindset. We touched on it in the beginning, but how are you guys doing today? I'll start with you, Britt. Life now, is it where you want it? Yeah, not where you want it. It's taking some major detours. Just kind of give us a quick, health, fitness, nutritionally, mindset wise.
Yeah, I mean, I will take you through a real quick 5-year journey. I think that the answer to that is I'm not where I want to be, but that doesn't mean I can't get to where I want to be eventually. But through the last 5 years, some big moments that have happened. I've gotten a divorce. My dad has passed away. I've done I'm at a new job. And then we are living in 2020. So when I say health and nutrition and things like that, you could look at me and think that, yeah, you look super healthy and you probably work out all the time. But if I'm being honest, I couldn't tell you the last time I went to the gym. And I think part of that is that initially I was very still scared to go back to the gym because of COVID and the things that are going on. And I'm like, during the summer months, it's been much easier because I'll just go outside. I've done a lot more walking. I play disc golf all summer. And so I've just been trying to figure out things that I can do outside, because I think for my own mental health, I have to be outside. And I think that it's a seasonal depression is a real thing. And I'm coming up on some cold and not great months in the Midwest. And so I think it's important to realize that. But as far as like my nutrition and things like that, I learned so much from the show that like, I know how to eat well. And so, during the weeks and things like that, I think I still am doing a decent job. But I will tell you, my weekends do not look like they used to, because I can eat whatever I want now. I think that comes back to just balance and being able to be okay with where you're at, because the reality of that TV show is that was not sustainable life. Doing what I was doing. I won't speak for everyone, but competing and training at the level that I was training at was not reality, and it wasn't realistic. And I will tell you, it took some time for me to realize that it wasn't realistic. And anybody that's on a reality TV show, I really think that like support groups should come afterwards. Because, like it's hard, because like still to this day, I don't want to disappoint and I'm like, I don't want to disappoint anybody. I was on national TV. I have an Instagram that says I'm verified and I'm the real Brittany Harrell, and like, there's these things that I still feel like are kind of over your head, where you feel like you have to, I don't know, necessarily like not lie to people, but like, I don't necessarily think that the stories you see people on Instagram are their real lives. And I think it's important to know that, that even though we had this show and this opportunity, we're real people. And I think it's important to talk about real things. So I'm not where I want to be, but that doesn't mean that I don't know how to get to where I need to be. So
well said. Can anyone else relate to that, by the way? Right? Like where you are today is not where you want to be in 2021 on that, or where you want to be in 2025 for that matter. So Brittany has always kept it real, and I've always loved that. Britt, I loved our discussions before all of our competitions. I'd write you the letters, and we'd sit on that little thing out in the strong yard, and I'd give you my little TD philosophy on life. I miss those conversations.
I miss the not caring. Like, I don't say not care, but like the ability to feel like we were in that bubble, and the only person that I had to focus on was me. And I think for a very long time in life, that was the first time in a very long time that I had the opportunity to just think about me.
You know what? That's a great idea. NBC, Netflix, round 2. It's called Strong 2, The Bubble. All this COVID talk with put the teams in a bubble. We just create the bubble. Let's go back up to Calamigos Ranch in Malibu. Let's get the bubble. Let's get the coaches and trainees. We can. If you guys are interested and you're listening in, you can DM us. We'll talk to Sly and Broom again, and we'll get round 2 going.
I'm here for it.
I love it. The bubble.
I mean,
that's a great
how
concept.
nice was it when we like just gave them our cell phones? That was also like a favorite moment of mine. Todd didn't like it so much, but I was like, take my phone, take my computer. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Really? See, I had a problem. That almost kept me off the show. I mean, guys, you were 25-year-old single ladies. I've got a wife and 3 kids and 52 employees at the time or something like that. I'm like, wait, I can only have 1 hour a week on my computer or phone? That's not possible. Like, sorry. I'm like, how about 2? Like, you start negotiating, like, on that. So that was a major stressor for me. So Devon, how about you as far as now, health-wise, fitness, nutrition, mindset, where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think I completely agree with Britt. And I think, her and I are always texting, and we have been for the past 5 years, like keeping it real with each other, because, everything you're saying, Britt, is true. Like, there should be a support group for some of us. It's hard after that because, what we were doing was unsustainable. I was back in my normal life trying to work on that transformation, working out at 5 a.m., working out again at 5 p.m. eating really, clean foods, not going to dinner, not drinking. Not that I really drink that much anymore anyways, but it was just, I wasn't really even living a social life. I was focusing 100% on this transformation. And I think now, after you do that so much, it kind of causes you to go all or nothing. So after the show, it was kind of like, just went so crazy. Now I'm going to lay off of the gas and kind of go for the nothing aspect. And then when you try to reintroduce that and go back in again, and, as Brittany said, we know what to do. We know what to eat, what to do in the gym. But I don't know how to get fit without being all. And so I've had a really hard time with that, trying to be okay with, doing a 20 or 30-minute workout a day. Like, that's okay. I'm getting my body moving. It's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be for 2 hours. I think I keep setting myself up for some unrealistic expectations, and then I crush myself in the gym. And then I, can't walk for 2 days. And so it's really just like trying to figure out that in between and what is a healthy lifestyle. And, it doesn't need to be all or nothing. You can kind of ride in the middle there and try to, have some healthy lifestyle and a healthy aspect to your life and, just get your body moving. And that's, that's okay. And that's good. So, I mean, it's definitely been a struggle for me too. And I think, it's real what Brittany's saying, feeling like you're letting people down. Sometimes I'm afraid to go out and see my friends and family because I've gained weight since the show. And I don't want them to see that. I don't want people to see that because I feel like a failure. It's like I spent all this time being on this show and getting super fit. And it was just such like a proud moment in my life. And then you go back out and I just feel like I have eyes on me, even though they're probably not there. I feel like they are, and it's overpowering.
Even now?
Oh yeah, even now, definitely. Do you feel like that too, Britt?
Yeah, like now with like social media, I'm not as big or anything like that, but like you still get people that are like, oh my gosh, I just watched the show. And like in my head, I think it's like when they say that and they like are so proud of me, I feel like, oh gosh, if you only knew like right now, but like, not that they shouldn't be proud of like me and I shouldn't be proud of those moments, but like, it's hard because you don't want to disappoint. Like even you, Todd, I love you to death, but like doing this and the knowing that I was about to see you even virtually, I was like, oh God, I hope he's not disappointed when he sees me on camera, but like, and I know you love me. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it wouldn't have mattered if I showed up and I was like 50 pounds heavier. You probably after would have been like, hey, Britt, like, you want to talk? But like, I think that the people you don't know, you feel like you don't want to disappoint. And I'm like, sometimes I got to check myself because I'm like, who cares? Like, your opinion of me is that. And it is only that. It's your opinion of me. So like, being okay with myself. And I think that that's the biggest part is just being okay with me and where I'm at. And it's okay. So yes, I feel that, Devon. I get it. Ooh.
I appreciate you guys sharing that. That's real talk right there. When you think about I think other people's expectations, sometimes how they stifle you, they get in your head about what you should look like. And I'm always talking to even, Melanie and McKenna about that, is we don't want to put self-worth in our body weight, right? And it's ingrained in our culture on that. But that's unfortunately the way it is how do you put value in who you are because of who you are as a spirit? So I appreciate you guys sharing that, because it's interesting how sometimes our heads get messed up because of other people's, we think other people are going to think of us. And that holds us back from going out and doing whatever we're going to do. Or what are they going to think about if I show up and I'm 10 pounds heavier, or I look older, or whatever it is. It's like, it's called head trash. And you all know that. So I appreciate you being real on that. What do you think? Take away everyone else's opinions, because what you guys did this is part of your life. It's part of your legacy. As 2021 approaches, and we've got here we're November 2020, as this is going to air. What motivates you? Like what's it going to be that where your focus is, that you can really focus on Like Britt, you used to go on the treadmill like for an hour before we did anything. Like you even when you got eliminated, you were on the treadmill just doing, I was like, more cardio, less lardio. So you're like crushing cardio. Even when you got off the show, you were in Lawrence, you're in Kansas and you're doing cardio at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Now maybe you're not on that and you don't need to be at the same intensity. And Devon, same way, you hired a trainer back in Boston and you went to some of the people I know back that way. But moving forward, what do you think you guys can do now? We talked about WLWL, When Life Works list, your best habits. What are a couple of the habits that you guys commit to that you think can help you get back even more on track where you feel that sense of peace and joy? Devon,
Yeah,
you go first.
I can start. So I, kind of what you're saying, I actually reached out to a trainer that I worked with while we were actually, doing the transformation. I don't know if you remember her, Nicole Cordon. She's awesome.
Yeah.
I reached out to her and I was like, look, I need help and
Sure.
I, need to invest in myself again. And I need somebody to help me get back where I want to be. So I started working out with her about 4 weeks ago, twice a week over Zoom. So, just trying to do something, trying to get myself going again. I think that, is one thing I want to continue to commit to doing. Because, I think about, of course, like the way I looked around the show was like absolutely amazing. And I wish I looked like that for my whole life. I mean, that was awesome. But, the way I felt was totally different. Like I was so proud of myself. I didn't worry about my weight. Like I can't describe to you as a woman, like I didn't even know how much I worried about my weight until I wasn't thinking about it anymore. And I can't tell you, it was like all day. It's all day, every day that I think about what I weigh and if I'm eating the right things and that I should be working out and is this clothes going to fit me and all of this head trash all day, every day. And when we did the show and, the transformation after, those thoughts went away. And I don't think I ever experienced that in my entire life, not having thoughts like that. So I think, that's my ultimate goal is to just, kind of just feel like I'm healthier, even if I'm working out just a small amount or moving my body. It kind of tricks your mind into just feeling like you're looking better, feeling better about yourself. And, it allows some of those thoughts to just go away a little bit. So that's kind of my goal, is to just kind of hope to clear out some of that head trash a little bit, because it was so relieving when I had it.
That's deep. That's deep, Devon. Thank you for sharing that. How about you, Britt?
Is that the dog?
Yeah. If again, I'll say that I need to find something that's going to motivate me. I don't know what it is right now, because I feel like for weeks I've been trying to figure out what it is, like pinpoint it. Like this is going to motivate me, and I'm a challenge kind of person. I feel like I have to have like this end goal that I'm reaching, and so being able to shift my mindset into like there's not really an end goal. The end goal is life. And I remember when I was training during the transformation part, and you couldn't tell anybody what we were doing. I just was showing up at the gym twice a day, like this crazy person, like, oh, cool, this girl's into this, and one day I remember another person, like a person that was at the gym who had seen me on a daily. I remember them asking me, they go, what are you training for? And I go, I'm just training for life. Just training for life. And so I need to get back to just training for life and training for me in the way that it makes me feel, instead of the way that it makes me look, because I think I get very bogged down on just kind of society and the pressures. And I like to think that I don't, but I take the right pictures that get posted online. Like I'm no fool, but
everybody knows my angles.
Right. And so I think that it's important for me to remember that it's not a look that I'm searching for. It's a feeling that I'm searching for. And I miss the way the gym made me feel. I miss it. I miss feeling like 5 a.m. wasn't anything. Like this was easy. I like, what? At 5 a.m.? I don't remember last time I saw 5 a.m. Like, what? It blows my mind that I had the discipline that I had then. And so, I need to figure out not how to trick myself, but how to make myself start believing in myself in that way, because it's there. it's in Devon. You know, we have it. We know how to do it. And I think that this is just it's where a lot of people are. So you're not alone. Those of you who are listening, you're not alone. So I don't know. I guess that's who I am. That's Brittany Harrell from Strong.
And
hey, Britt, do you want to compete with me? You can text me again at 5 or 6 a.m. and I'll tell you if I'm going to the gym. We were doing that during the show. You found that accountability partner.
We did. We might add
you. You were up at 5. I think I was up at 6 because of the time difference. You can do that again.
Real simple. Brittany, Devon, in the next few weeks, you may hear, yoo-hoo, yeah, you know who it is at the front door. I'm gonna be knocking on your front door, and we're gonna have a little reunion, I think. I love you guys. I love you both. We're forever linked, and there's a lot of great memories that will last us for our entire life. Both of you, Devon, from you showing up, 25 years old and a little bit lost. The fact that we had the time on the show that we did, I'll forever love you. And I remember when we lost, I remember the words that were shared up in that tower, that don't ever let anyone ever tell you can't do something that you want to do. And that's something that for all of us listening in, those words, as long as we do our best, right? As long as we do our best and we show up, don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do something. And Brittany, same thing, man. I think it was a God thing that we got linked up, because I saw a light in you, was that week 5 or 6, that I had never seen in you prior to that, because I wasn't working with you. And what a run we had for 5 weeks in that time of our life. But really that 5 weeks is linked us for infinity, because that same look I saw a few years back, you still have that, Britt. You still have that. We got to all tap into it, and you got to turn that light on. But I know that. And Devon, I saw that look in you, and Britt, I see it in you, and I see it in a lot of people. Heck, guys, when I'm done with this recording, I'm about to go out here with a bunch of 14 through 18-year-old high school football players. And guess what? I'm trying to turn the light switch on the inside. Isn't that all of us right now, turning the light on every single day? Regardless of how much athletic success or professional success that you have had in the past, it doesn't matter. At this point, Britt, you were just saying it, I'm not working out to like be all jacked up and buff. I'm just trying to get my mind right and survive. I want my energy to be good that day and have a little more poignancy, a little more focus, a little more positivity, a little more energy, so I can make decisions for my family, for my clients, members, the people I serve, and myself, so I could be better. And that's what we're talking about. So it comes down to commitment. So I hope not only have Devon and Brittany talked about the commitments moving forward, that you all think about this is like, we're reflecting upon a very, very special time in our histories together, the three of us, over a 10-week period that happened, and it happened to be captured on national TV. But you don't have to have been on national TV to have the commitment to get back on track. And I'm imploring every single one of you listening in right now, because a lot of you are probably out. I see you. You're walking the neighborhood. You're walking the dog. You maybe get a little running. You might be on the elliptical right now, and you're listening. Pick up the pace. And some of you are driving or on an airplane. Congratulations. Good job. That you're like, I got to get back on track, right? You heard that a couple times today. Then make the commitment, whether that's with an accountability partner, that's with a coach, you hire a trainer, you get into a challenge group virtually, whatever it is, make the commitment, declare it, tag me, tag Devon, tag Brittany, and say, I'm in, I'm all in. Well, heck, we'll create a challenge here coming up in 2021 that y'all can be in. Heck, we'll just call that the Strong Reunion Challenge. Britt, what do you think about that, Devon?
We need you guys. You got to tag us, help us too.
There you go.
Everybody needs a motivator.
Amen. But I just want to say thank you to you both for being the women that you are, because who you are today is not who you were, 4 or 5 years ago when we were all together doing our thing. And I've watched you guys grow professionally and personally on that stuff. And I love you guys. I'm so proud of you. Thank you.
We love you.
Love you too.
Any final words, Devon, on your end?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the one thing that always resonated with me, with you, and I was just looking at all the letters you gave to me on the show, and right on the cover of the manila envelope, it said, don't try to prove the people wrong that don't believe in you, try to prove the people right that do. And I don't know, like when I reread that, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. It's really just not about trying to prove people wrong that aren't believing in you. It's all those people that are in your corner supporting you and being there for you. It's, getting up every day and fighting for yourself and, proving them right too. So thanks for teaching me all that stuff. And no, I don't know if all the listeners out there know, but Todd also agreed to marry my fiance and I. So you'll see the officiant Todd. Hopefully we'll make a little podcast at the wedding boot camp in 2022.
Pastor Todd and
Pastor Todd
back there in 2022.
News to me, so I better be in the audience so I can for real have a strong.
It'll be a strong showing.
That dance floor, we're going to be doing some crazy exercise on that dance floor.
I'm afraid to see boot camp Todd, wedding style.
Yeah, exactly. Brittany, how about yourself? Any final words of wisdom?
You've heard it a lot, but it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel the way that you're feeling because 2020 is hard. There's a lot of things that are going on, but find someone you can talk to, make a accountability buddy, start somewhere, even if it's small. I literally am saying this out loud to remind myself the same things because it's much easier to say it and to give other people advice than it is for me to take my own advice. So I just, challenge you to just remember who you are, what's your passion, what's your reason, what's your why. And when I think about the reasons why, it makes me feel better. I haven't talked much about him, but my kiddo is now 13 years old, which is mind blowing to me.
Crazy.
But, things don't stop.
I still remember the leg press. I'm like, Jaden. And you're like, yeah, you're like leg press. I'm like, do it for Jaden. Yeah. And you're like, they're looking at me like this beastess mode. I'm like, oh my God, I want this girl on my team all day.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that sometimes I have to remind myself to light my own fire. The one challenge I didn't talk about was the tug of war one that wasn't on TV. And that one between Jill and I wish it was on TV so I could rewatch it for myself because of how just powerful it felt in that moment to be almost there and almost lose and be like, just kidding. Let me just bring it back, And it wasn't like a just kidding. It was like, oh my gosh, you got to, grind it out. And so I think I just need to remind myself that sometimes you got to grind it out. You got to do it for you. So.
By the way, you know what another lesson out of today's episode is, everyone? It's okay to look back at your fond memories and your not so fond memories and to reflect on them and be thankful and grateful for them. It doesn't matter if those memories are 5 years ago or 20 years ago or your high school glory days. If you got to go to that data bank, go there because it happened. It's real. That happened. Everything we're talking about happened. That's part of my DNA. It's part of Devon and Britt's. It's okay. Sometimes we're like, no, that was a year ago, or that was 2 years ago, or 5 years ago. No. I'm not going to live in the past. Hey, listen, I'm reminding each and every one of you, go to the memory bank where you've got some of your finest memories, your finest moments as a man or a woman, as an athlete or a musician, as an actor or actress, as a performer, whatever it is that you do, and darn, feel that and sense it and live it and know that you're still that person. You still got that inside of you. You still have that. And if there's memories in there that aren't so fond, you could always learn from them. Just like we said, well, what were some of our not so fond memories, our worst memories? It's okay to even now laugh at them. I laugh at me having rhabdo and hanging upside down for 10 minutes. I'm like, I can't believe I self-administered an IV and like I had some nurse coming at midnight, like trying, I didn't want to bring that up, but I'm laughing, right? Like I'm literally, and y'all are laughing at me because you remember it on this stuff. But it's okay to go back and to use your memories as fuel, to use those memories as fuel for where we're at now. And I just want to say, Brittany, Devon, thank you for being who you guys are. Devon, if someone wants to follow you, if they're not already, where's that place they can best follow Devon Cassidy?
Thanks, Todd. Yeah, on Instagram at Dev Cassidy. So tag along.
Pretty simple. And how about Brittany? Where can someone follow you?
I mean, if you really want to follow me and follow my lovely life journey, Instagram's probably where to go, at Britt Harrell Miller. It's never going to change. So I'm the real one. Follow me there.
I am highly encouraging all of you to go there and follow them. They're fun to follow. They're fun to watch what they're doing on that. And you're going to see their journey, because when I go do a little knock on their door and wake their little booties up and get them up and get them moving again, it's going to be fun to see what they're posting. So, ladies, thank you for being here today. I love you both. Stay strong. Wow. What a great conversation, and so great to catch up with both Brittany and Devon. Kind of surreal to look back and talk about some of those stories that I don't even think have ever been revealed publicly before, but that was a lot of the fun, and I appreciate you all listening in and being here today. A few things. Number one, please share today's show and be sure to tag me and Brittany and Devon. I always love reposting your stories on Instagram and commenting on your feed posts. So don't forget to tag us on that. And two, remember, if you are a trainer or you're a coach and you want to do some more life coaching, I have my brand new Todd Durkin Impact Coaching Certification Saturday, November 21st. That's this coming Saturday, 100% virtual. It's all day, and we, just like Devon and Brittany, will be forever linked as I'm searching for more coaches who I can collaborate with for instituting my impact coaching systems to change the body, mind, and spirit, along with business and leadership. If that's you, be sure that you sign up. All you have to do is go to todddurkin.com and you'll see the link for the Todd Durkin Impact Certification Coaching. This is my first certification where I'm certifying people in my system, the Todd Durkin Impact Coaching Certification. These people who sign up will be my vintage group, my first group on that. So sign up today and get ready to change lots of lives in 2021, including your own. Folks, that's a wrap. Go out and create an awesome day. And remember, you don't know how strong you are until strong is all you have left. Train hard, eat right, live inspired, and go create impact.